Hello again. My cat is coming to see me now. This is my third video for the day. Come here, buddy. You want to sit in my lap? You want to sit next to me? This is Garfield. He's like 12. He's a good boy. This is my third video for the day. This is about processing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. Right? I'm the reason he canceled the movie Critic last April. I've written a novel about it. It's called Building a Coven, as in a witch's coven. Right? I did not come up with the title. Right? The two of us have a legendary, very dangerous, psychic, clairvoyant connection, which transcends space and time and binds our souls together forever. Right? And so, he has drawn a line in the sand, right? And said, this is how it is, right? With the mind game, right? And so, right, I'm reading from my novel every day to put this material out, letting the world know I live in perpetual fear that he's going to send people to my house to assassinate me. I just got in an argument with my mother, and I'm feeling very guilty over that for sure, because I know she can't help me. I know there's nothing that she can say to bring me into any sort of anything. And I know that there's, right, it's only because of who I am, right? I have no one to look to but myself to explain the things that are occurring. And it's a very lonely island to live on. But we're talking about it, right? We're talking about the condition, right? I hurt him immeasurably. I know. I made the choice to abort the highest magic in show business. Like, this is my, right? It's my fault, right? I didn't want to, at the moment, right? I wasn't thinking, oh, great, now I can hurt him, right? Of course, never, 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 right? But that's what happened. That's what happened. I followed the master's lead, and it made it ugly. I made it ugly, but he's made it evil, right? And so now I'm reading from the novel, right? I'm talking about it, what's occurring neurologically, physically, physiologically, right? We're talking about the nature of reality. We're bringing everyone into the conversation, right? And so I'll pick up where I left off. I arise around 8 a.m. as the sun begins to take dominion over the atmospheric sincere. I drink my coffee, take my kratom, and go to talk to Roger and Sandy first. Some show, you guys have a good time? Sandy replies, yeah, it was awesome. And have you done any other shows? I didn't ask yesterday. Now Roger. Well, we thought of Hershey, but now we're doing Colorado as well. I nod before replying. Yeah, me too. I would guess that's a similar strategy 10,000 times over. The band works 3 hours a day. When we watch the band, it is an all-day marathon from beginning to end. They chuckle. Though I know, Roger says, they'll get something at Shoreline no one else gets. That's the game. The devotion game. He points to a poster tube sitting on a counter in the camper van's far wall. I'm a poster guy. I follow his direction, see the apparatus, and nod in recognition. So you go in early as well. Only when I actually get the poster. But it is largely a habit, you're right. We statistically go in earlier. For me, it's an access thing. If I have the floor ticket, I like to come in as soon as the doors open and get a great spot. However, oftentimes, I take the available ticket to be in the show. Though still, I'll go in when the doors open or soon after to get a good lawn spot. So you're going in early here then? Every night, by default. Statistically, I have a seat or the lawn, not good seats. I take what I can get when they go on sale. These are the big shows, you see. Reverential nods. I bought a travel package for this Halloween. Yeah? It was a strategy for a ticket, as they went on sale the day before. I did it the complete opposite the last Halloween, where I stayed in a real dump of a hostel across town, and still spent well over $1,000. So the cheapest one is like $1,500, That seems way easier to me. I agree. But I would have just bought the tickets if that's all I had. Are you going? Oh yeah, dude. We're staying, by the way. But yeah, we'll be there. Nods. Hell yeah, we'll have to party. I'm going to the water, but I'll see you soon. We agree on our later reunion, and I walk to the friends I made the previous evening. I see a guy brushing his teeth. He looks to me with evil eyes and suggests, "You want some vodka?" I think only a moment. I won't say no. He hands me a fifth of Smirnoff. Swig. Return. Thanks. He drinks a little as well, tips the bottle up in the air and offers a facial gesture of revelry. A stone-drunk look of revelry. I arrive where I was the previous evening, and Caleb offers me a seat, which I take. We're getting ready now. Did you sleep? Bah! Humbug. You? He laughs. You said it. We all climbed into the vehicle, 5 people, a Toyota 4Runner. The drive is only 5 minutes. We are one vehicle of many coming to the river. The Columbia River. Across the water, posh waterfront properties. It is suggested some people rent those houses for exorbitant fees and party like bosses. We park on a hill. I walk with this lady, a tall, pretty mountain girl. Name of Fiona. Cressy Butte is cool. Have you been living there long? She nods and looks to me. I grew up around there, but yeah, several years. Where are you from? Saturn. She smiles. My birth certificate reads Tennessee. I went to the national park. My birth certificate reads Tennessee. Her eyes go wider and look at me. Only a second. I went to the national park in Texas earlier this year. Yeah? Big Bend on the Rio Grande. 3 hours east of El Paso on the border. The river was so narrow you could almost jump across it. She nods as we continue walking towards the water. Cool. I rafted down the Rio Grande once years ago. Cool. We found a migrant trying to cross illegally who got lost in the wilderness. Now my eyes go wide. Oh, whoa. What happened? He saw us coming from afar and flagged us down. We couldn't do anything. We turned him in. Gave him water. Yeah. What can you do? The shore of the river is bulky rocks, obtuse and uncomfortable. The river is icy cold at first, and a savage juxtaposition between the arid, scorching air. The water is murky, opaque, deep from only a few feet in, and has a current that will certainly carry you away if someone should find themselves lacking in vigilance. Hours spent between basking on the rocks like lizards to dry and leaping into the water again for reprieve from the sun's indifference. Endless jokes, sarcasm, camaraderie, common love and mutual desire for the bettering of us all. There are lots of other people beside us all around, endless chains of groups of friends, enjoying nature's bounty. Neurochemically, as far as the collective. The psychic fabric weaving all creation together. These instances impinge great waves of healing magnetic effluvia throughout the earth. Tens of thousands of people overall I should say, radiating out positive energy through force energy. This is high magic also, if you have the trick to see it. Now, back in line, new groups on either side, in front and behind. Similar in scope to yesterday, maybe 55 people ahead of me. A group to my right in front of me. It is only a line in the crudest sense. And having a lively discussion about a board game, I've never heard of it. I finally ask, so you guys are into board games? A very pretty shorter girl with brown hair looks up at me. They just got it. Are you? No, I'm into literature. I'm a writer. I'm a book nerd. I'm reading 1984 right now. Now one of the guys chimes in. Nice, George Orwell. Yeah, it's great. It was his fever dream. He was terminally ill with tuberculosis. He died months after the publication. Oh, whoa, he says, I didn't know that. Perhaps it was the world he saw, and not the world he worried on. Yeah, it's more political than science fiction. I nod. I would say it barely qualifies. Dystopian and set in the future, but not technocratic in any way. It reads grimy. The girl says, that's cool. I actually work in a bookstore. Do you have any book recommendations? I just got my first pinch on, The Crying of Lot 49. It was great. I could talk about books until we part ways. You start there. Then we'll talk more. She nods. What's the name? Thomas Pynchon. Pynchon. Cool, thanks. A stocky hoss type about to join the military or police guy appears at the entry a ways off, southwest. Khaki shorts like Damien Gary. Black shirt, short black hair, tight sunglasses hugging his face close. Good tan, possibly indigenous. If slight, perhaps not. He wields a megaphone with his left hand. If you have a wristband, please get in line to my right. Again, if you have a wristband, please come up now for early access. People from either side of me distill themselves through the masses and get into the new line. Again, as before, and to come, I am now at the front of the line. Almost, I mean. Less than 15 people now are now ahead of me. Getting through security is a shuffling left as you come in with 8 gates spread out wide. Once inside the venue, it is a slight ascent leading to a courtyard or pavilion with entrances and exits on either side, north and south. South leading back to the entrance, north towards Canada, descending into the venue. The courtyard is flush with vendors as 2 semicircle arcs on either side of the pathway. A hodgepodge of food and memorabilia. A table is set up for the Water Wheel Foundation, and next to them, on the east half of the courtyard, another table with balloons. Yellow balloons floating tied against the table. It is the sober group who attend all of the shows as well. I have struggled in years past with drugs, and surely my psychic eye is more cursed than blessing. But now I'm cool. I respect drugs and just have fun. I guess on some level I feel that sobriety becomes its own shackle enslaving you. Spirit, matter, man. The brain is not the mind. Mind is not the brain. Reductionist, materialistic science will categorize and deconstruct things to their essential pieces as best as it is able to. And I admit that perhaps neurochemistry, genetic predispositions, familial influences, nature and nurture, all of these things can engender the predilection towards abuse. As it has been stated 1,000 times by sages of all ages, free will is necessary and absolute. And neural pathways I'm sorry about this. Fucking Google. Google fucked me. Okay. It's fine. I have to go further. Sorry, Google is doing bullshit to me. This is bullshit. Not 97. It needs to be like... Oh, what? Alright. We're almost there. Fucking Google. Man, no one watches these anyway. but they do. I have struggled in years past with drugs, and surely my psychic eye is more cursed than blessing, but now I'm cool. I respect drugs and just have fun. I guess on some level I feel that sobriety becomes its own shackle enslaving you. Spirit, matter, man. The brain is not the mind, mind is not the brain. Reductionist materialistic science will categorize and deconstruct things to their essential pieces as best as it is able to. And I admit that perhaps neurochemistry, genetic predispositions, familial influences, nature, and nurture, all of these things can engender the predilection towards abuse. But if, as it has been stated 1,000 times by sages of all ages, free will is necessary and absolute, and neural pathways can be reconstructed and altered by new thinking patterns, by Socratic indifference, a lot of these things become excuses. Perhaps there is no free will. Perhaps life is a pure accident of motion. Somewhen, somewhere, somehow, a divine zephyr emerged. Thereafter a cascading domino avalanche leading to now, with death emerging only after space ran out of volume to continue growing, the whole of creation becoming one giant static electron, whose plasticity was reduced to zero by occupying all of space. And by virtue of accidental happenstance, the Goldilocks zone we see ourselves in now emerged purely out of the chaos of nihilism. This is a lazy answer intellectually, which in fact strips the imagination of all its dignity. I'll stop there. Right? So, Google fucked me. Talking about space, which is why the flow of the reading was disrupted. Right? But, right, it's a conversation about the nature of my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. Right? I've written a novel about it. The pages that were just read, right, actually do concern him in some way as far as free will. Right? If you say that there is no free will, right, then there's no validity in anything that I say. Right? That if you don't have the right to say yes or no, that everything that occurs is some sort of chemical relay already predetermined, right, then there is no psychic phenomenon. Right? That's, right? Oh, someone's biologically, like, predisposed to be a clairvoyant, and, like, everything that they've done has been, like, the result of the wiring predilections of their brain. Like, it's bullshit. It's ridiculous to say in those terms, right? Right? That you're always as wise or as ignorant as you allow yourself to be, right? And so, once you reach a certain level, right, you begin to understand, oh, okay, that this thing, like, I can pick up, right, I can pick up this thing, right, I can put that in my hand and derive, right, raw divinity out of it, right? And it's through that that we see this board, right? Everything that you see here, right? No how-to videos, right? No bullshit, right? All my mind, right? Expressing its knowing. Okay. Right? That when you understand that, that I can manifest this, right? That I can spin it right there, right? In front of the camera, right? As many times as I want, as fast as I want, as slow as I want, right? Then when I understand that that's a psychic revelation, right? Like that's an internal. You understand what I'm saying right now, right? that if, right, there's no magic in atheism, right? That's the point, right? That people that say life is accidental, right? That's so boring. I just like shut down immediately, right? It's like there's no grace in that at all. You know, it's just arrogant. It's just arrogant at the end of the day to think, oh, nothing is special. Only man is special, right? That there's nothing divine unfolding in life, right? That all of the centuries haven't been leading towards something which I allege is, right, the dissolution of war, right? The communion of man, right? To be good gardeners in the garden of Allah, right? That's like this is, right? That it's all leading towards something, right? That if we see the 7 chakras, right? Right? As psychological notions within the mind of man, right? Then the Kundalini awakening, right, is the liberation of your understanding, right? That those symbols are not representing physical areas within the body, right? But that everything is a symbol of a divine intellectual abstraction, right? That's actually the plot, right? That's right. And so if you say, oh, mind is the engine of life, right? If you say, oh, I can use my mind to, right, to arrive anywhere that I want, any when, right? Through logic, through reasoning, through austerity, through scholarship, through discipline, right? That if you do these things, right, heaven's face doth glow, right? That everything that is manifested in life, right, is a corrupted reflection of its divine idealized form. That's, right? If it's not that, right, then everything is accidental, right? There's no other, right? Right, but what I'm saying is that remote viewing, right? What I'm saying is that telepathy. What I'm saying is that all of these things, right? They don't have anything to do with religion, right? That they're well documented long outside of religion, right? And so the holistic sort of enclosure of all of it, right? Of instances of clairvoyance, right? Of instances of psychic phenomenon, instances of telepathy, instances of, mothers lifting up 3-ton vehicles to save their baby that's trapped underneath it. Like all of these things, right? Like instances of healing the sick, right? Instances of, right? All of these things, right? Mysterious voodoo disappearances, right? That they all hearken to the same intellectual notion, right? That embedded within all of space is this same conscious field that has collapsed, right? And expresses itself as your individual consciousness, right? That there's no separation, right? That there's no me and you. It's always us, right? It's always it, right? Which is consciousness. It's not I, right? It's us, right? That it's this, right? It's not I, it's this, right? Which is reality, right? And so when you meditate, right, on things, right? For me, it's these things, right? It's these divine, right? I spin it, I meditate on it, right? It conjures into my mind as a divine sigil, right? That when you meditate on these things, right, when I spend an hour and a half moving my eyeballs across this board, right, that it embeds within you, right, the ultimate level of understanding, right, the ultimate expression of relaying God's knowing back upon itself, right? And so if we say that manifested reality has to have some sort of geometric underpinning, it has to have some sort of structural, intellectual origin, right, around which the corrupted shadow which we measure as physical reality evolves by, right, then through understanding what you are as an individual, right, you can connect yourself to, tap into, transmute, and mutate any part of this field anywhere in space, right? That this is the game, right? There's nothing else that's ever been occurring between any magician, any sorcerer, any soothsayer, right? The book of Daniel, right? Nebuchadnezzar's dream, right? So powerful, so powerful. The king awakes in great choler, great distemper, and he says, bring everybody to me. I need to see everyone. I need to see all my soothsayers, all my magicians, right? And they all arrive and they say, my lord, what is your distemper? Please, please let us use our wisdom to help you understand. He says, I've been plagued with a great dream. I had a great dream. What does it mean? What does the dream mean? And all the soothsayers, they say, oh, yes, no, we understand your feeling. We know exactly what you're talking about. You tell us the dream, and we'll tell you what it means, no problem. And he says, no. That's not what I pay you for. Right? You tell me the dream and what it means, or I kill every one of you. Off with your heads. Right? We all understand our relationships perfectly well. I'm the king. You tell me the dream and what it means. And they say, my lord, how can we just tell us the dream? Just tell us what the dream is, and we'll explain it to you. And he says, to the dungeon with all of you. And eventually the king's guard, the captain of the king's guard, he comes to Daniel. And Daniel says, what is this great? What is... He says, Daniel, we don't know. It's, we need you. The king's had a dream. No one can tell him anything about it. And he says, okay, I'm going to pray on this for a night. And I'll come back to you. Right? And he comes back to the captain of the guard and he says, you take me to the king right now. I'm ready. You take me. And Nebuchadnezzar says, okay, Daniel. Everyone's in jail. No, not to stay the grinding of the axe. And he says, this thing that you ask of me, this thing that you ask of us, no man can ever answer. However, there is a God in heaven that reveals secrets. In your dream you saw an image, etc., etc., etc. This thing, right? There's no grace left. There's no... And so we're talking about it every day. Right? It's my fault. It's my fault. It's not Quentin's fault. It was Quentin's show. Right? He has the right to turn his back on me. Yes. Sure. Right? I don't think that I'm better than him. Right? But in that moment, right? There's no other way to interpret it. There's no other way to interpret it. Right? I do acknowledge that. Right? That if, right? And I saw us as equals, right? Like that's how I've always seen it. Like we're equals, right? Like you have money, right? And so when he turned his back, I thought, oh, this is when I turned mine, right? But I see now. I do see that was, of course, right? That was when I say, oh, I have a question. Hey, I got a question. Don't turn your back on me. That's what I was supposed to say, right? But I was more interested in being a coward, right? And now it's degenerated into, right, such a condition that there's nothing left to do but talk about it, right? And I'll say it again, right? I've ordered the material, right? Like I'm putting something together, right? And I'll show it on here. I'll explain exactly how it works and when this thing is live, right? As far as the mind, right? If we're talking about like, oh, we're using our mind to control people, right? To control their bodies, right? And this is never what I wanted, of course. Of course. I don't know what I was thinking. I acknowledge that. That there must have been something in me that thought, oh, I can do better. And it's stupid. It's so dumb. Of course, that was right. That was my shot. He just wanted me to be strong. However, right, I have a great magic understanding, right, and so, right, and I know in his mind he was like, oh, he's playing the same game right now, right. When I pushed that letter all the way up to his face, he said, God fucking damn it, this guy is playing the same game with me right now. Right? And so, right, we both lost. That's the point. Right? I lost by not, like, being able to see through him and seeing that he needed that, right? That he needed, right? Oh, he needed me to bark like a dog. I see that now, right? And I'm sorry. It's, right? And I seem so pretentious when I say that. I know I seem pretentious when I say that. Right? And that's like what he's thinking in his mind. But I wanted to give him what he wanted. Right? That right, all those months, right? That it doesn't diminish to look me in the eye and say what you want from me. Right? And again, fine. Sure. You're famous, right? Like, I read between the lines, right? Like, I read between the lines or I don't get in, right? Like, secret access. Right? My point is that now it's just disgusting. It's just a disgusting, dangerous psychic siege, right? There's nothing graceful about what's occurring right now, right? There's nothing good about what's occurring right now, right? And so we're bringing it into the light, right? I'm admitting, right, that I made a mistake, right? That it's his show, right? That's right. It's easy. It's fine. I don't have to be anything, right? Like I'm the guardian angel of the world. I see that now, right? And that's pretentious too, I know, right? But that's how I see it, right? That I've come into his life, right, to remind him, right, that he could have handled this 1,000 different ways, right? And the most logical way for how he should have handled it, right, was to pay me $250,000 for my scene after I blew it at Tribeca and said, no, you go fuck off anywhere else. Here's the NDA. Right? Instead, he would rather think, oh no, this guy, fuck this guy. This guy wants to not respect the psychic mind game. Right? And so now, right, it's become exacerbated into this hideous, dangerous condition. Okay? And so I'm talking about it every day, right? And he's taking steps to poison my body with my tactics, with my mind, right? I live in perpetual fear that he will kill me whenever he hits his breaking point psychologically. And I know he's already there. Right? Just like me. This is why I'm dumping all this material online, because the game is over. Game's over, right? Right? He's destroyed my mind in some way. He's done it. He's got what he wanted. Right? Right? I can't talk to anyone about it. Right? All I can do is, like, yell at a wall. So, congratulations, Quentin. Right? Right? But I'm not going to blow my brains out. Right? That's not going to occur. So, he can send people to my house and murder me, right? And he can do the disgusting things that he's done, right? To try to poison my body, right? Which I know. The weight of that is sitting on him very heavy right now, right? Because now he's given me permission, right? He said, okay, this is how far I'll go. I have all these people protecting me. I have all my hundreds of millions in my bank account protecting me. Right? And so now it's become, right? Now it's just become cheap. Right? He's just made it sleazy. Like the movie Critic. Right? It's just a sleazy fucking porno rag. Right? And so, I'm building something. I am. I'm never going to debase myself, right? I don't have to get diseases, right? I don't have to do any of those things, right? He understands nothing, right? That everything that he's done to me, right? I can push back out, right? That I can counter, right? Let's just say that he just, like, owns this lie all the way through, right? Like, if he says, oh, I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm really upset about this. Oh my God. I'm so, here's $100 million, right? Here's $200 million, right? Because this is not, I don't know anything that you're talking. Let's just think about that for a second. Let's just think about that for a second, right? Knowing that I have no money now, right? Knowing that I have no money, right? And I'm going to go to the hardware store, right? And buy a couple of pieces of plywood once I get, like, everything else in the mail, right? And I'm going to build something that costs me nothing, right? To literally destroy anyone, right? Knowing that, right? Now he's going to just ride that lie, right? All the way to put $200 million in my bank account and let me loose, like, on the world. Is that, I'm supposed to, so that's the story. That's the story, right? Right, so my point, right? My point that I'm making right now, right? That I mentioned in my monologues to Ari, as well as to Mike. I mentioned in my letters to both of them, right? That if there is no true reconciliation, right, that I have no choice, right, but to build a legion of clairvoyance, right? There's nothing else to consider there, right? That I have to take that money, right? I have to take that blood money, right, that he gives me to keep my fucking mouth shut, right? And I have to find every psychic in the United States, every single one of them that charges $1 to look at a fucking deck of tarot cards, right? And I have to write them all out a check for $9,000, right? The highest amount before they start reporting it to the IRS. And I have to say, you say that you're this thing, right? You want to exist in the world as a clairvoyant, right? That's, right? Oh, okay, so that's you, whomever you may be, right? Like, so now I'm here, right, to give you an audit, right? That I am your celestial auditor, right? And so I'm going to pay you this money, right? And in exchange for that, right, you're not reading my mind, right? I'm reading your mind. That's what the money's for, right? And in the same envelope where the money is, I have a picture of Quentin, right? And I say, right, that there's a second envelope on here that has my mortal enemy, right? Are we friends or are we enemies? And after I do what I need to do, right? After I tell them pick two numbers between 1 and 22, right? And then I take their moment of insight and I wield their sigil from the numbers they give me, right? That I say, are we friends or are we enemies? Only a fool would say they're my enemy. In this thing. Right? And I know I seem like an arrogant ass right now, but doesn't matter. Right? So, they cannot take the money. Right? They cannot take the money. They can say, no, I'm not getting involved. Right? And I'll do everything I need to do around that building. Right? And they're mine. Their soul is mine. Right? So, right? Now, right? You understand? Like, do we understand? Are we all on the same page here? Right? That there's no, right? No. That's not, he's not okay with that. Right? Oh, he's just going to give me a bunch of money and let me loose in the world. Is that, right? Would I do that? Right? So, we're talking about it in the light of day. Right? Right? Because the reality, right? The real reality, right, is that he has his own legion of clairvoyance, right, that he uses to torture me as much or as little as he wants, right? When he was at Cannes doing his retrospective of those 2 films, right, he was paying people at the same time to torture me in Alabama. And it took me 2 days, not long, right, to realize it was so bad, it was so bad. So why is this, like, why? We're so many months in, like, why, right? Did I looked it up and then I got it, like, oh, I see. Right? He wanted his mind clean, right? While he had 1,000 people staring at him. Right? And so, right, this is why we're talking about it. Right? There's no formula. Will this persist for 10 years, right? He is at a point, right, where he has to continue debasing his immortal soul. I could give you 1,000 fucking examples that are all in this novel that I'm reading through right now. Right? Or we have to reconcile, right? If he stays in his ivory tower, right? I'm not going to go on and on. I'm about to end, right? Because it's late and I have to go to work tomorrow, right? If he stays in his ivory tower, right? And he says, no, right? Somebody's gonna die, right? Is it me? Is it him? Is it someone around me? Is it someone around him? Right? This is, right? You try to give me AIDS, right? That's the game that we're playing. I see. I see. So, gloves are off. You steal my fear from my mind, right? Now, I have permission to do whatever the fuck I want. And we'll all see it on here, right? I don't want to kill anyone. That's not what I want, right? That's what he wants, right? He wants me to be poisoned, right? And so since there's no other way that I could have gotten it, right? You understand what I'm saying right now? You guys are smart. Right? So we're talking about it in the light of day. I'm reading from this novel, right? The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse. Keeps wassail in the swaggering up spring reels. I'm gonna stop now. Because I feel like I've said that already. In fact, I know I did. The first time, when my niece came home. Doesn't matter. Nobody watches these, but they need to, right? Because this is, right? It's a very dangerous condition, right? So long! Nay, then let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Oh, heavens! Gone 2 months and not forgotten yet? Why, then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year. But by lady he must build churches then. Or else he shall suffer not thinking on with the hobby horse, whose epitaph is for the hobby horse is forgot.